Two step. And going to two step. That boy must. Hey man, we back. We back from our segment. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you haven't seen already, look at the merch, man. It's against the grain all day, man. I see the 3 bars, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because we got bars. See the slash through it. Don't ask what the slash is about.
What bars stand for? Don't worry about that.
Feel me? You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me nothing about against the grain. Just only cop the merch. It's really that simple. Just cop the merch. It's really. Hey, but listen, we diving back into this next topic, man. We're gonna talk about y'all favorite president, y'all president. We're gonna talk about Trump. And basically, man, we're gonna introduce the topic if Trump is reelected, are we kind of steering towards a dictatorship? So I'll let not Beezy, excuse me. I'll let Nick P.
Hey, bro, don't you ever disrespect me again, all right, bro?
I apologize, bro. You know,
you good? You want to take this off camera?
Man, I just need a little bit of water or something, bro. I was, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right,
bro, relax, bro. All right, so anyway,
proceed.
We're gonna kick it off to Nick, man. We're gonna talk about the dictatorship. And go ahead and explain what a dictatorship is, you know what I'm saying? Some of our listeners may not know, you know what I'm saying? I range from 13 into 39, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah. So let me give you the proper definition of what a dictatorship is. Let me read this directly from the source. Give me 1 second. Okay.
We get together now.
Okay. He caught me off guard with the, because I assumed everybody knew. So check this out.
How about getting beds out?
What's up? So basically, a dictatorship, absolute authority in any sphere. So meaning there's no democracy, there's no voting, there's no taking a poll. What I say goes. It's almost like how your mama and how your grandma ran the house coming up. That was a dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? If you on the snack past 8 o'clock and they said no snack past 8 o'clock, bro, it's not up for discussion. You ain't getting no snack past 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So that's what dictatorship is. What I say goes. Ain't no discussion about it. And I think like if you like really look at like how Trump like is is running his administration, and if you look at the type of content that he's putting out. And if you look at the way he's gone about politicking especially during COVID, it's been very much so like a dictatorship. And we've only experienced 3.5 going on 4 years now with Trump. And looking at it, I feel with another 4 years, we're potentially running the risk of America shifting towards a dictatorship, because him and his lawyers behind the scenes are already looking at ways to rewrite the Constitution and to come up with laws to allow him to be the sitting president moving forward. So taking away electing the new president every 4 years, he's already looking at how to do that, because Trump is the person all about power. So I want to know from you guys, given the fact that if he's reelected for another 4 years, it's going to give him, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more time to really figure out ways and avenues to rewrite the Constitution and to draft up laws that's going to be beneficial for him to be the sitting president moving forward indefinitely.
All right. If I may go next, I'm going to go with your point and against your point at the same time.
Golly, boy, what a politician.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? Call me both sides drink, you know, bipolar drink. But anyway, so to go against your point, I do feel like the Trump entirety, I guess the polarizing figure that he is, makes it seem like he has more power than he actually does. So, you know, essentially what democracy is supposed to be, and we can get to the nuances if democracy works, electoral colleges and things like that, are they still useful and things like that? And that's getting pretty clear within it. But there's supposed to be, you know, a series of checks and balances. You know, you got the House, you got the Supreme Court, and you have the executive power of the sitting president. So through those 3 entities, you're supposed to be able to have some checks and balances. So he can't just say, hey, listen, I hate everybody now, and I won't see any in there no more, so turn it off. Like, he can't do that. You know, so he can say that all he wants, which he typically does because he's very ignorant. But he doesn't really have, you know, power to do that, or executive power. Or he can't just declare war on all of America, even though he wants to. Or, you know, he can't be like, oh, I'm not leaving the White House, even though he said he's not leaving the White House. So there's checks and balances implemented to kind of offset some of these people who are a bit power hungry. Now, to go along with your point of Trump turning into a dictatorship, he does show the qualities of being consumed by power. So dictatorship is being someone who's like all encompassing, all power. You know, what I say goes essentially. And he has demonstrated several times where he's done that. He does, intimidate the media. So he will literally call out CNN, anyone that's not Fox, MSNBC, that kind of goes counter to his views or points or anything like that. He calls them out. He says it's false news, fake news, false media, and things like that, which is reminiscent of a dictatorship. And he also like pushes pro-Trump media sources. So Fox obviously says that Trump can do no wrong, and he kind of really shines a brighter light on that. He also politicizes civil service, the National Guard, and domestic security entities, meaning like he uses like his own type of power to kind of offset power that's going on within the state, which is like you're not supposed to do that. Like he sent the militia, I believe, was it in Oregon?
Oregon.
Yeah, he sent the militia in Oregon to kind of police a peaceful riot. I mean, a peaceful protest. You know,
and also kidnap, like they were kidnapping people on the street.
It was going down. Like these are trained people for domestic, security threats going towards peaceful protesters. Like doesn't make sense. So that is reminiscent of a dictatorship. Also, stacking the Supreme Court. We see that with the recent passing of the Supreme Court justice, like he implemented someone that obviously supports his ideals and would continue to spearhead his own, political agenda, which isn't supposed to happen. I believe even her dying wish was to wait for the next candidate to come in to fill her seat. Obviously, that wasn't respected. And the last point before I kind of give it over to the panel is that he enforces law enforcement for only one side. We all know about the stand back and stand by comment that was made throughout the debate and things like that. So, of course, he's an extreme right advocate. Some of those very, to be frank, racist and domestic terrorist groups. He backs, which isn't supposed to be happening with someone who's in the executive leadership of presidency. However, with a dictatorship, it is reminiscent of some of those core values and ideologies. So, I give that information to the group.
I'm gonna kind of go off of what you said about the checks and balances. So when Nick, you said his lawyers are kind of looking into kind of rewriting the Constitution, they would also have to get the approval or agreement from the other two branches. And I don't necessarily see anyone with that amount of power foregoing or relinquishing that much power just so they can be ruled by one person. Like I don't necessarily see the Senate saying, oh yeah, let's go ahead and, we're gonna sign off on this so he can go ahead and dismantle the Senate or the judicial branch, just so, he can rule the country with an iron fist, do things the way he wants to. I don't see that. I don't see them foregoing that power. Like nobody in the history of this country would willingly relinquish that much power.
So I would say this, in which I agree when it comes to a check and balance system. I think the one thing that Trump does not get enough credit for, and I say that not in the most respectful way, but
it's okay to give credit on some of his ideas. I ain't mean to cut you off, but like we have this like idea that everything that Trump does is wrong, and like
no. But when it comes to its intended purpose, it's still kind of hard to, like still kind of throw the complete oop or appreciation his way. But I think the one thing that he does not get enough credit for, that's overlooked when it comes to Trump, is that he's very methodical in putting things in place or people in place to push the agenda that he's trying to push. So you're right, there is a check and balance. You do have a Supreme Court, and you do have other branches of government to bring that balance. But what he's doing is he's putting the leaders, right? So he's putting the people that he in these leadership positions within certain branches of the government to carry out the tasks and to carry out the duties that he's trying to fulfill. And that's what makes him so dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the fact that we don't have a check and balance system, because we do, and he understands this. And given the fact that he understands that, he's now putting people in place like the head over the post office. Bro, he put so much pressure over the last individual that was spearheading in charge of the post office that they quit. And then he turned around and put his boy in place over the post office. Like, he's very strategic. He's very methodical. And I think that's the one thing that people should be very concerned with and that people often overlook. Like, people just think he's just this off the cuff, talking out the side of his neck type of individual, in which he is, but he's very methodical with the why and the reason why he's talking out the side of his neck, because he knows that that's going to incite his fan base, his following base.
I feel like also, quick point, also the people in the other branches of government are people that we vote on. It's not something that he can necessarily appoint in those branches of government. He can't necessarily put somebody in the Senate. We vote on that.
But we didn't vote for him to get in office because he lost the popular vote.
But the electoral college is completely different.
Trash.
But now, the electoral college is supposed to vote based off of what the popular vote within that state, who they voted for their candidate. But instead, right, exactly. So, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like we have this perception of a check and balance system, but it doesn't always play out like that on the back end, behind the scenes.
Give me your last point as you wrap up.
So I think I had like 2 or 3 things listed, but the biggest thing is America's always going to be leaning towards, I won't say a dictatorship, but we are a right-wing authoritative country. Like, that's just who we are. We're not, we market ourselves. We were very great marketers, and we talk about liberty and justice for all, like all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not what we're really about. We're really about power and money. Like, that's really what America's about. And so even the Democrats are about power and money. It's not like the Democrats are all about liberty and, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not a revolutionary party. So you got 2 parties who are already leaning to the right, mostly. Republicans lean a little bit further to the right. And like Nick said, Trump is very strategic about who he places where. And you never know, sometimes not even to do a certain job. It may just be to make you mess that job up. Like, I'm gonna put this person in here who's not qualified for this. That's why I know that's tanks. Like, or to be an ear to see what they're saying about me in this sector. Like, he moves like somebody who's feels like he's under siege. I remember like last year, the whole impeachment thing, like he took that real personal. Like, I mean, of course I guess you would, like, man, you're trying to impeach me? Like, you're trying to impeach me, but it's like the country has this huge division around power. And I just feel like, to Dre's point, it's kind of like an illusion, but he uses that illusion to his advantage. So it's like, it's a very weird thing to kind of watch. Like, he's playing chess. You can kind of tell he's playing chess.
Big time.
And I feel like everyone else is emotional about it. And so we react to everything he says. That's how he got into the office in the first place. He just said stuff to stay in the news. We reacted, and it was a dog whistle to everybody else in America who was ready for a quote unquote strong white man to bring back America from Obama. And it's I don't like going this analogy, but it's very reminiscent of like an Adolf Hitler. Like, he didn't come in and be like, all right, kill everybody. That was some years building that up. He was very strategic about putting this general here, this person here, swaying the public perception to certain things to make it okay. To this point, if Trump came out today and just said, I hate niggers, we would probably be shocked, bro, but like, at this point, I don't think it would be that drastic. Like, people are like, well, he said he hates niggers, not black people. Like, somebody would make an excuse for it. Like, he said so many extreme things. He's pushed the line so much that I think he's ushered in an opportunity to say things that are beyond the realm. And usually presidents exercise more power in their second term than their first term. So I think he's gonna, if he wins again, which is it's a good chance he does. If he wins again, he's going to exercise more power the second go around. In which,
just to throw in there real quick, it's to go back to the last segment about doing how Ice Cube came to the table with the platinum deal. You almost kind of hesitant to even do a deal with somebody like that. Like, yeah, he might give you what you want, but at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, you may be able to go buy that crib or buy that new car, but what's your interest rate? Like, what does that repayment look like? You know what I'm saying? I think that we have to think about it with that type of train of thought, like if we are going to try to make any type of agreement with the Trump administration.
Absolutely. Some great points by the team, by the panel. I think the social ramifications of Trump's presidency have more legitimacy. And I'm not going to say, I'm not saying it's like that drastic, but I think the social climate that he's producing is very combustible. And I think we're on the fringes if, if one thing kind of spews over to another, things can erupt in a very alarming fashion. So, hey, make sure you get out there and vote. And look at that. Look at that. It's a great segue because we'll talk about the importance of the Black vote in the next segment of Against the Grain.
Votes.